I didn't lose my family in a fire. I didn't lose them in an accident. I lost them while they were still alive. They didn't scream at me. They didn't hit me. They just stopped seeing me. And that kind of loss hurts the longest. My name doesn't matter anymore. People stopped using it years ago. Now I'm just the old lady in the spare room. I used to belong to this house. I helped choose the curtains. I scrubbed these floors on my knees. I cooked meals that brought everyone to the table. Now, I wait for permission to sit in the living room. Not because anyone told me to. Because I learned, I make people uncomfortable by existing. It didn't happen suddenly. There was no argument. No shouting. No dramatic moment. It started the day my son said, "Mom, it's better if you live with us now." He said it kindly. Smiled while saying it. I thought it meant love. I packed my life into 2 suitcases. Clothes I barely wore. Photos no one asked about. Memories no one wanted to hear. I didn't know I was packing myself out of my own life. At first, they were careful. "Mom, do you need anything? Mom, are you comfortable?" Then slowly, those sentences disappeared. I learned the new rules without anyone explaining them. Don't ask what's for dinner. Don't turn the TV volume up. Don't sit where they sit. Don't correct the grandchildren. Don't talk too long. Smile. Say thank you. Apologize for needing things. I started eating less. Not because I wasn't hungry. Because food felt like a favor. The worst harm wasn't loud. It was quiet. They talked about me like I wasn't in the room. She doesn't understand these things anymore. She's old, what can you expect? Just agree with her, it's easier. I understood everything. Every word. Every sigh. Every eye roll. I just stopped responding. Silence is easier when you know no one wants your voice. Some days I tried to help. I folded laundry. Cleaned the kitchen. Watched the kids. One day my daughter-in-law said softly, "You don't have to do that." It sounded kind. But what she meant was, "We don't need you." That night I cried quietly into a towel, so no one would hear. Because even crying felt like taking up too much space. You don't feel old when your body hurts. You feel old when people stop needing you. I wasn't abused. I wasn't abandoned on the street. I was emotionally erased. And no one talks about that kind of pain, because it doesn't leave bruises. Some nights, I sit awake and think, if I disappeared tomorrow, would they miss me? Or would they just miss the space I no longer take? Some nights, I sit awake and think, if I disappeared tomorrow, would they miss me? Or would they just miss the space I no longer take? People like to believe cruelty is loud. That harm always comes with anger, bruises, or broken things. But what happened to me was quiet. So quiet that even I didn't notice it at first. I was already an adult when it began. Not a child. Not someone people would rush to protect. I was the woman people relied on. The one who always answered the phone. The one who never said no. The one who could be counted on to fix what others broke. At least, that's what they told me. They used to say, "You're so strong." I didn't understand at the time that this sentence would slowly erase me. Strength meant I was the first one called when someone needed help. Strength meant I was the last one considered when something was offered. Strength meant I was expected to handle things alone. No one asked if I was tired. They only asked if I was available. And I always was. I lived in a house full of people who treated my presence like furniture. Always there. Always useful. Never acknowledged. I cooked meals I didn't choose. I cleaned messes I didn't make. I adjusted my sleep to other people's schedules. When something went wrong, everyone looked at me. When something went right, no one did. And I told myself, this was just how families worked. The first time I realized something was wrong was on a day that should have been ordinary. I had been sick. Not dramatically sick. Just tired, weak, quiet. I mentioned it once. Very softly. No one responded. They heard me. They just didn't stop. That night, lying in bed, I understood something terrifying. I could disappear, and the routine would continue, unchanged. This is the kind of harm no one warns you about. When people don't abuse you, they use you. When your value becomes conditional. When love is given, only when you are helpful. When kindness disappears, the moment you ask for something back. I wasn't mistreated loudly. I was erased politely. At some point, I stopped asking for rest. Stopped explaining my exhaustion. Stopped hoping someone would notice. Because every time I tried, I felt embarrassed, like I was asking for too much. So I learned something dangerous. Silence kept the peace. Sacrifice kept me included. And loneliness became the price of belonging. They never saw me sitting alone, after everyone went to sleep. Never saw my hands shaking, from doing too much for too long. Never saw me rehearse sentences I would never say out loud. Never saw the version of me that needed care. Because that version was inconvenient. One day, I realized they didn't need me anymore. Not because I was loved enough to be spared, but because I was worn out. You see, people don't notice your absence when they already stopped seeing you. That was the day the house became quiet. Not peaceful. Just empty. I didn't lose my family in one day. I lost them, slowly. While still making their dinners, washing their clothes, and smiling when they came home. Some losses don't happen loudly. They happen while you're still alive. I was already married when I learned the truth. Not the kind of truth people say out loud. The kind you feel. After years of being ignored. My husband wasn't violent. He never raised his hand. But he had a gift. He could make a person feel small, without saying a single cruel word. He worked. He ate. He slept. And I existed, in the spaces between. When guests came, I cooked. When family visited, I served. When problems appeared, I fixed them. Everyone said, "She's such a good woman." No one asked if I was happy. At night, I would sit on the edge of the bed, hands folded, listening to his breathing, wondering when my own life had quietly disappeared. The first real pain didn't come from my husband. It came from someone I trusted. My sister-in-law moved in temporarily. That temporary stay lasted years. She criticized my cooking. She rearranged my house. She spoke over me, as if I wasn't standing right there. And slowly, my husband stopped listening to me. If I spoke, he said, "Don't start drama." If I cried, he said, "You're too sensitive." That's when I learned something dangerous. When a woman stays quiet long enough, people stop seeing her as human. They see her as furniture. Useful. Replaceable. Silent. I swallowed my pain. Because peace felt safer than truth. I became a mother. And for a while, I thought love had finally found me. I stayed awake through fevers. I skipped meals so they could eat. I wore old clothes so they could have new shoes. But motherhood doesn't protect you from being taken for granted. As they grew older, they stopped noticing. Mom was always there. So I thank her. I didn't complain. I didn't ask. I didn't interrupt. I thought love meant endurance. I was wrong. One evening, I finally said something. Just one sentence. I'm tired. The room went quiet. Not caring quiet. Uncomfortable quiet. My husband sighed. My children avoided my eyes. And then he said it. Everyone's tired. You're not special. That sentence did something to me. It didn't break me. It erased me. From that day on, I stopped expecting kindness. I cooked. I cleaned. I existed. But something inside me closed forever. When my husband fell ill, I became a nurse. When he recovered, I became invisible again. Later, he began staying out longer, talking less, caring never. Eventually, he left. Not with a fight. Not with apologies. Just a note. I need peace. He left peace behind, on my shoulders, and walked away lighter. After he left, everyone remembered me again. They needed childcare, food, advice, emotional support. I gave it. Because I didn't know how to be anything else. But when I needed help, no one answered. That's when I understood. People don't miss you. They miss what you do for them. I need you to listen carefully. Because women like me don't scream when something is wrong. We go quiet. We learn how to survive by becoming small. And by the time anyone notices, the damage has already been done. Part 1, When she stopped mattering. I was already old when I realized something terrible. Not when my hair turned gray. Not when my hands began to shake. But when I understood that my kindness had slowly become a permission for others to treat me badly. It didn't happen all at once. No. It happened politely. Quietly. In ways no one calls abuse. I lived in the same house for 40 years. I cooked in that kitchen. I cleaned those floors on my knees. I raised children under that roof. But one day, without anyone saying it out loud, the house stopped being mine. My son moved his family in. At first, they said, just for a few months. They smiled when they said it. I smiled back. Old women always do. They moved my chair. Mom, you don't need that space. They changed the TV channel. You don't watch this anyway. They stopped asking what I wanted for dinner. You eat so little. I began eating alone. Not because I wanted to. Because no one waited for me anymore. I noticed the way voices changed. Not loud. Not angry. Just impatient. Sighs. Eye rolls. Long pauses when I spoke. I started rehearsing sentences in my head before saying them. And sometimes I decided not to speak at all. Silence felt safer. One afternoon, I fell in the bathroom. Nothing dramatic. No broken bones. Just pain. I sat on the floor for a long time. Because I didn't want to be a problem. When I finally called out, someone said, "Again?" That word stayed with me. Again. As if needing help was something I should apologize for. No one hit me. No one shouted. That's why no one believed anything was wrong. But neglect doesn't leave bruises. It leaves emptiness. It teaches you that your needs are inconvenient, and your presence is optional. I wasn't angry. I was embarrassed. Embarrassed for needing help. Embarrassed for getting old. Embarrassed for still hoping someone would care. I stopped asking. That's when they thought everything was fine. Some nights, lying in a room that once felt like home, I whispered into the dark, "I used to matter." And the silence answered back. People think abuse is loud. Bruises, screaming, anger. But no one talks about the kind that happens when you are already tired. The kind that comes from people you trusted. This is what happened to me. I was 56 when I stopped being seen as a person. Not because I changed, but because I became inconvenient. My husband had been gone for 3 years. Cancer. Slow. Painful. Quiet, like everything else in my life. After the funeral, people said, "You're strong. You'll be okay." What they really meant was, "We expect you to handle this alone." At first, my children checked in. Not often, but enough to make me feel remembered. Then life pulled them away. Jobs, marriages, children of their own. And slowly, I became background noise. The first injustice, the small one. It started with favors. "Mom, can you watch the kids for a few weeks? Mom, can you help until we figure things out? Mom, it's just temporary." Temporary stayed. Weeks became months. Months became years. I cooked, cleaned, raised children that weren't mine, again. But this time, no one called me mother. They called me help. When I was tired, I was told, "You're home all day anyway." When I was sick, I was told, "Just rest later." Later never came. The shouting never came. That's why no one noticed. Instead, there were sighs, eye rolls, silence. Conversations stopped when I entered the room. Decisions were made without me. I would speak, and someone would talk over me. I would cry, and apologize for it. I learned something painful. You can live in a house full of people, and still be completely alone. The moment that broke me. One evening, I overheard my daughter say, "She doesn't really need much. She's used to managing." I stood in the hallway, holding a basket of folded clothes. That was the moment I understood. My strength had become their excuse. Because I never complained, they assumed I didn't feel pain. Because I stayed quiet, they assumed I didn't need love. The deeper injustice. When money became tight, they talked about selling the house. My house. The one I had lived in for 30 years. The one filled with memories no one else wanted. They said it gently, kindly. "It's for everyone's benefit." I nodded. I always nodded. I signed papers I didn't fully understand. And one morning, I woke up homeless in my own life. Old age humiliation. I moved into a small room, with a window facing a wall. No photos. No familiar sounds. I was told when to eat, when to sleep, when to be quiet. They weren't cruel. That's what hurt the most. They just didn't care. Neglect wears the face of politeness. At night, I replayed my life. Every sacrifice. Every swallowed word. Every moment I chose peace over honesty. And I wondered, if I had spoken sooner, would I be here now? Or was this always my ending? The truth no one says. People don't abandon you suddenly. They slowly take pieces of you, until there's nothing left worth staying for. Old women don't become invisible. They are made invisible. Direct message to the audience. if you are listening. Check on the woman who never asks for help. The one who says, "I'm fine," too easily. Because one day, she might disappear. Not because she died, but because everyone stopped seeing her.